as soon as Donald Trump started talking about how he wants his followers to try to vote twice, and he said it now multiple times in a 1-day period, that would seem to undercut his argument of being against voter fraud as a general stance. But some people are paid to try to make sense of all of this. One such is Kayleigh McEnany. Let's listen.
Obviously, if that's the suggestion, be against the law, Kayleigh. Why did the president say that?
The president is not suggesting anyone do anything unlawful. What he said very clearly there is make sure your vote is tabulated, and if it is not, then vote. Basically, when you get a absentee ballot and you send it in, there are poll books, and it is recorded that you have tried to vote, that you have in fact voted. And if you show up at a polling site, they look at the poll book and say your vote's been counted. He wants verification. What Democrats are saying is we want a system full of fraud, and we want zero accountability and zero verification that you.
Okay, so Kayleigh McEnany started her job as press secretary telling the press, I will never lie to you, ever, you can trust me. And so she turns from Donald Trump literally committing a crime, telling his followers to commit a crime. That is proof that the Democrats want voter fraud and no accountability. That's her job. And look, to the extent that she did a good job there, I guess maybe it was a good choice of Trump to hire her, but she is 100% lying there, 100% about what actually happened.
Absolutely, she's like Kellyanne Conway with just better highlights. Like just the amount of lies and gaslighting is wild. And even the fact that he said these things in North Carolina, North Carolina is not proactively sending out ballots to all registered voters. There are 9 states in the District of Columbia that are doing things like that, but North Carolina isn't. So it's like, why even raise this? But then also North Carolina is not sending out absentee ballot applications to voters either. So the fact that you're almost trying to get people to vote twice in a place where they really even don't have that many options and opportunities, it just speaks to the fact that he can't even do crime right. But now this is on the North Carolina Voting Commission and everyone to step forward and say, okay, guys, this is how it works. This is how you check to make sure that your vote counted. And he's always creating more problems for everyone. And then having his little spokespeople come up behind him and say things like this, it's the new world we live in, and it's absolutely wild.
Yeah. And I want people to be well armed for the continuing spin of this. So what she just said right there was, no, Trump was saying vote by mail and then go and check to see if it counted. And if it didn't, then you vote. Which in another video we didn't show you, he did say something like that, but you already saw the actual video. He said, go and try to vote. And if the system works, they'll stop you because they've already registered your vote. That is not what Kayleigh McEnany tried to spin it into. He encouraged you to attempt to violate the law, and hopefully the system will catch it before it happens. She pretended it was just about checking to see if your vote has already been logged. You can do that online if you want to. There's no reason to actually go on election day if that's what you're trying to do, because it's just there's really no point in trying to break it down. But understand that that's what's actually going on. And by the way, if the larger point that Donald Trump theoretically was trying to make, which he wasn't, and failing, is that you need to go make sure that your vote was counted because we can't be sure. Maybe it won't get there in time. Maybe they won't read it in time. All of that would be consistent with funding the post office, not trying to grind its operations to a halt and make sure that it doesn't have the resources to do its job. I would say that you get to do one of those two things. You get to burn the post office down, or you get to complain that mail-in ballots might not make it on time. If you're doing both of those things, there's an issue there. And I think the issue is the state of our democracy. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.